Hi, everybody. My name is Mark, and I decided I'm going to try doing a video podcast um, because it is very important to have different viewpoints. And I'm a very opinionated and open-minded person, and I will be openly, flat out say that I despise Donald Trump, as most people do. I will also give full disclosure by saying that I am a Jew, and I really don't understand how my fellow Jews could support this man and vote for him when he's insulting Jews, he's offending Jews, he's emulating Hitler, he's making key points that Hitler said, and he said that he wants to have generals like Hitler had. Now, I am not sure what's going through his mind, but I can tell you that as a Jew, this is offending me, because Hitler, for those who conveniently forgot the history, killed 6 million Jews. I have family that I never met because they were all killed in the Holocaust. My grandparents, may they rest in peace, went through the Holocaust. My other grandfather never talked about it, but he was in the Holocaust, and he never even showed me his arm. My grandmother made a video to put into the archives of Yad Vashem and the Shoah, a video that I watched, but was not easy to do so. And so, man that's emulating Hitler and Mussolini and Lenin and all these other dictators, and my fellow Jews are like, well, he moved the embassy to Jerusalem. Okay, that has nothing to do with anything. So he moved the embassy. That doesn't really make him the greatest man in earth. It doesn't matter if the embassy's in Jerusalem, in Tel Aviv, in East Jerusalem, or in the Red Sea. It doesn't really make a difference. That's your argument. Well, he moved the embassy to Israel, he moved the embassy to Jerusalem, so we're going to vote for him. That's your argument. Okay. Just so you know, he doesn't care for Jews. Doesn't care for anybody. The only reason why he moved that embassy is because it benefited him. But I'll give you another one. We'll go even further than that. You're in a campaign rally, and you're talking about, we're going to deport all the illegal immigrants. Okay, great. How are you going to do that? How are you going to execute that? What is your plan? Are you going to go to every single house in every county, in every city, in every state, knocking on their door, asking if they're an immigrant, okay, or what country are they from? And if they're undocumented, how the hell are you going to figure that out? Because if they're undocumented, that means they're in no registry whatsoever, which means you don't know where they live. You don't know what they do. So are you going to go to every single house in every city, county, and state? Are you going to go to every single job place and say, do you have any illegal immigrants? Which, by the way, could be illegal, but are you going to do that? And then what about the children that were born here? Are you going to make them orphans? Are you going to say, well, mom and dad can't stay here because they're undocumented immigrants, so they're going back to their countries? Well, what if they come from two different countries? Are you going to break up a marriage because they're illegal? If one comes from, say, Ecuador, the other one comes from Honduras, so you're going to send one back to Ecuador, the other one to Honduras, and now you have children without parents? And now you have a husband and wife that can no longer be married because they're being split back to their countries? And now you're creating another unnecessary problem. If you deport all those illegal immigrants, now you have a problem. The job market. Who's going to take over the jobs that these immigrants were doing? Can you do it? Can I do it? The reason why the immigrants are doing these jobs is because they're good at it. They grew up doing these trades in their countries growing up, and they are doing it here because they know how to do it, and they're damn good at what they do. You ever wonder why you go to a Chinese restaurant and in those restaurants, the only people in the kitchen are the Asians? Or the Chinese? I don't want to stereotype here. You ever wonder that? I mean, sure, you can go and cook your own Chinese food, but is the quality going to be the same? No. Do you know what goes into making mugu gai pan or kung pao chicken or chonggang fang or whatever? Do you? No. So you're going to try to resolve another problem. You're going to try to resolve a problem by creating another problem unnecessarily. So you keep saying at your rallies, we are going to deport the illegal immigrants. We are going to deport them and we are going to make America great again. Well, that's all said and done. But what is your plan to do it? What's your execution? How are you going to implement it? Do you have people to do it for you? Do you have enough staff? Who's going to pay for their traveling, for their flights? You really sure, it's easier said than done. I can say whatever I want, but it's all actions and it's all words. Actions speak louder than words. Show me the action you're going to do. Anybody can say whatever they want. It's how you execute it. So tell me, what's your plan? Donald Trump has no plan. He's going to basically do deportations, and which, by the way, emulates Hitler, which goes back to Hitler again, because I had said to my fellow Jews, and I use that analogy, I said, imagine this, Hitler rounded up the Jews, deported them, put them on trains, and they went to camps. Hitler did that, and sent them off to their deaths. Trump says we're going to deport the illegals and put them in camps until we know what to do with them. That is Hitler talk. And yet, you as a Jew are still going to support him? They never got the analogy on that. When Hitler is saying about the Jews, we are vermin and blood and they're tainted and we have to get rid of them. And then Donald Trump says the exact same thing about the immigrants. That's history repeating itself. And I can assure you today that if Hitler was alive, Donald Trump would want to meet him and shake his hand. And as a Jewish person, I'm offended by this. The Holocaust isn't something that was a made-up fairy tale as people want you to believe. It happened. Unfortunately, it happened. And you know what's worse? Hitler wasn't even German. He was Austrian. He served in the Austrian army during World War I. For some odd reason, and that I don't understand, he got upset that Germany had to pay reparations for what happened, and for some odd reason, blamed the Jews for it. And the Nazi Party rose because of Hitler's grievances, because of his rants and his brainwashing and his fear-mongering. Things that dictators do. Things that Donald Trump is doing. So yeah, he does. So when somebody's asking an honest question about how are you going to help me support my kids? How are you going to help me put food on the table for my 7 kids? And your answer is, and then you answer the person by saying, well, if the illegals weren't here, you'd have your money from the jobs. But because the illegals are here, they're criminals by stealing the money at your hard-paying job. And if the illegals weren't here, well, you would have your money. But they're stealing the money from the jobs that you should be doing. And if you had the money, you'd be okay. And that's why we have to get rid of them, because they are criminals and they are thieves. That did not even answer the question that he was asking. That was not the question at all. And when you ask somebody about child care, when he's being asked what he thinks about child care, and his response is, I think children are great. I have children of my own. I love my children. My children are my life. They're in my businesses and everything. And children are great. They're the future and everything. Okay. These are talking points that have been said by everybody else. But when somebody asks you, what do you do about the child care tax credits? You don't have a plan. At the debate, he was asked what his health care plan was. He's going to say, well, we have a concept. We have a nice health care plan in concept, and I can't wait for you to see it. Something he said 8 years ago, and we still don't have something to replace it. And he said, well, we written it a month ago, and, we're just not ready to show it yet, but when we do have it ready, you'll be surprised as to how it looks. No, if you have some sort of a concept, you obviously have a blueprint, and you can obviously talk about it and tell us, well, this is what it's going to be like. You don't have a proof of concept. You've never had a medical plan. Donald Trump doesn't have any plan because most people who are on a campaign trail voting for office don't do their grievances. Don't start making threats and fear-mongering and spewing hateful rhetoric and racism. That is not what the leader of the world is supposed to be. You're at a campaign rally, you're supposed to talk about your policies and what you're going to do. How are you going to make America great again? Telling people, well, we're going to lock up our enemies and deport the illegals and bring the First Amendment back. That is not telling me about your policy. Great. And how are you going to make America great again? How are you going to fix the First Amendment? How are you going to get rid of... How are you going to close the border? These are important questions that we need to ask. And by the way, most of this is already a law. Okay? We already have the First Amendment. We already have the right to bear arms. So the fact that you're saying Kamala is going to take our guns away is false, because she never said it. In fact, she said she owned a gun and she's not afraid to use it. And when you're putting into the Constitution, when you're putting into a bill, when you're putting into a bill that will only fund the government, if you put in a bill to keep that says illegals can't vote, it's already a law. Illegals can't vote. They're not citizens of this country. And they're not going to attempt to register, because if they try to register, they have a very good chance of being deported. And they don't want to be deported. It is already a law. It has been a law for many, many years. And if you're a member of Congress, you should know this. Because how can you be in Congress and not know the laws of the country or the district that you're representing? If you're the President of the United States, how do you not know this law? So, understand that he's making accusations, he's making things up, but he doesn't have a plan. Donald Trump will go into the White House and do exactly what he says he's going to do. Arrest his political opponents, take revenge, and he's unchecked because the Supreme Court, unfortunately, told him he has immunity, and he'll do whatever he can, and no one's going to stop him. He has no plan. He's all talk, and people believe him, but he has absolutely no plan. He has no idea how he's going to fix the border. He has no idea how he's going to deport the illegal immigrants. He has no idea. He has no health care plan. He has absolutely nothing. All he has is made-up stories, delusions of grandeur, and wants full power and turn the United States into a fascist, authoritarian state where only he, and he alone, makes the rules and decisions and the laws, and make it a country shaped in his image. He's already done that with the Republican Party, and if he can, he'll get rid of the Democratic Party. So there's only one party, his. And if I were you, I'd be afraid. I'd be very, very afraid.